We're going to cover criminal gangs, what we currently know, and how we can take that then and take the lessons from 2025 moving forward into next year. We're going to be looking at some phish threats and social engineering trends as well. And like I said, how you can adopt a security first ethos in every department, not just at your IT department. When I'm going out and speaking to people these days, a lot of people are just discussing how security is becoming everyone's responsibility. Today's speakers is myself and Greg. Greg Cooper is from Sophos. He's done a few webinars with us now, so he's getting used to presenting to our customers, and I'm sure he knows quite a few of you now because he's been in conversation with a few. So this is a lovely Greg. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Eve. Thank you very much.
A few months ago, we were really privileged to find out that we became Sophos MSP Partner of the Year, which was a very exciting time for us. And then that's us accepting the award on the day, and Greg was there as well. So yeah, really great time for us there. You were there on the day, weren't you, Greg?
I was. I didn't want to spoil the picture.
Oh no, that's Ricky and Damien of CSG in the photo there. So really exciting. And I just want to thank all of our customers for your support and all our partners as well, because without you guys, we obviously wouldn't be able to do what we do. And from our new website, from our rebrand early in the year to, like I said, winning Sophos Platinum Partner and Partner of the Year. It's just been an incredible year for us. So big congratulations to everyone involved in that. To get started today, what would you notice first? So you're coming into your office in the morning and these three things are selected for you. What would you spark alarm at first? An odd invoice, an urgent CEO email saying that they need you to be in contact with them straight away, or a login from a country that you don't operate in? Raise your hands if it's going to be for an odd invoice and put your comments in the section this morning. Vote now. Whatever you choose, the options are all three. Attackers are on it. In 2026, they'll learn more about human signals, supplier relationships. They have tools these days to be able to work out who you're chatting to instantly, who your suppliers are, and that's how they can really get to know your business and make their attacks more smarter. So what can we do? Make our defensive more smarter, and that's what we're here for. So this isn't to alarm anyone, but it's also to make you just more aware of the type of attacks so we can better protect ourselves. So over the next 45 minutes, we'll see what we've learned in 2025, see some examples, and then get you guys a Q1 action checklist so you can go into 2026 knowing that you are prepared. AI. We've all been talking about it a lot this year. It has become the buzzword to every business meeting I've gone to, every networking event, even the non-techie networking events that I've been to. AI is still being spoken about. I mean, I think we can all agree there that is becoming a big buzzword. So I think now understanding how to best use it in your company is not just a privilege anymore, it's expected. And that's where we can really come in to help. But just to get you guys started, so AI services are acting as super users in your environment. You don't have to give everyone the capabilities to use every single part of the AI tools that you provide. There's a lot of different security suggestions to only provide tools to certain users to make sure that the people who you know who are security aware are using them, etc. Enforcing MFA as well for all admin and API access. Sophos highlights MFA as a baseline for risk reduction. So just some quick ways that you can make a healthier AI environment. Securing your data supply chain. AI is only as safe as its data. Encrypting the data and in transit is really important way to validate the data sources and track where it's going. Track how you're using it to prevent any data leakage or anyone breaking in by implementing strong endpoint and identity controls. So detecting and eliminating shadow AI. Who's heard of shadow AI here? I know, again, it's one of the buzzwords that is going around a lot of events that we've been going to. So these are when unapproved AI tools are being used in your company. A lot of people and friends I speak to admit to using unsecure and unevaluated AI tools in their workday. I try and close my ears because I don't want to hear about it, but a lot of people are still using them. And I think the issue is people aren't caring enough about the security risks of it. So adopting a security first ethos in your business is really the first step to staying protected, because once you've got employees that care about being the person, I mean, no one wants to be the reason you get breached, but once they start to understand that using these AI tools could actually form a data leak, I think that is just the first step in making sure that people use AI tools securely. So hardening AI endpoints and AI infrastructure. So this is when you're adopting a layered defense, which is something that Greg and I will go into later. But a layered security approach to all your AI tools is crucial to make sure that anti-ransomware tools are deployed, and just making sure you're not vulnerable to a threat from these amazing tools, because we're not saying don't use them. We're not saying don't use AI, but when you are using it, think of the security elements first. Zero trust approach. I mean, we've all been hearing zero trust approach to everything the last 2-3 years. With AI, this makes no difference either. So having continuous patching and segmenting AI workloads into just like limiting the approach, really, not making sure that everyone is using them, and who are using them are using them securely. Depending on what industry you work in, this is going to change. This is why it's suggested to get some support and guidance when you're doing so. But before you scale an AI across your teams, just ensure that you're being compliant within the different regulations, because we don't want to be getting caught out later on knowing that we haven't done something ethically. And monitoring AI outputs for confidential information leakage, because like we said, no one wants to be the person or the employee that accidentally is the issue of a data leakage at all. Some stats for you from the last year. This is from the Sophos Data Ransomware Report and the National Cybersecurity Centre. There has been a 30% increase in ransomware attempts during the holidays. We all know that, but it's just a stark reminder, really, to be alert from now. And phishing emails have actually surged by 692% in November, which is a crazy figure to go up by. And these are all holiday themed campaigns. Have you paid your invoice for your Christmas party this weekend? The urgency, trying to make it out that you haven't paid it and you're not going to get your space. These are things that we can just stay alert about. 18,000 holiday themed domains were registered in Q5 in 2025. That just shows, doesn't it, how these AI tools as well are being used by cyber criminals to create these domains and to quickly do them. People don't have to now plan their attacks all year round. They can literally use AI powered tools to quickly get all those domains registered, look legit. And that's why, again, our defences need to be stronger to protect against them. SMEs are accounting for 81% of all UK cyber attacks, which just really show that the support that both the government, cybersecurity experts give to small businesses, it needs to constantly be looked at, constantly be improved, because you guys are the most vulnerable to an attack, and that is why we need to provide more and more support. At CSG, we provide some cyber awareness training. Throughout the year, we can help with you. We do these webinars with Greg from Sophos, and it's basically just updating you with how to best protect yourself ongoing. But here again, some more stats just to show you about how important human knowledge and putting the human first is when it comes to training. 95% of data breaches involve human factors, which is terrifying, because you can spend so much money on different security software, different services, but if you're not training your staff and you're not given that security first ethos that I spoke about just earlier, it could be for nothing. 70% reduction in phishing incidents after implementing regular training, that's a huge figure. It just goes to show that having proactive steps before you become aware of a threat is just the best way to be. Employees who complete training are 70% less likely to fall for phishing scams. I know everyone on the call here wants to make sure that they aren't the reason that our data is leaked. I couldn't think of anything worse, especially working in an IT company myself. So having this ongoing training, ongoing awareness, it really picks up that care for it. And once your employees start caring, you start caring more about cybersecurity threats, you're just going to be less likely to be a victim. 25% fewer overall security incidents with ongoing training. You get the gist here. Basically, there's going to be a lot less of concern if you're training your staff properly. Well-designed programs delivers the ROI. A lot of people they don't want to put their investment into cybersecurity, and it gets left behind. This is changing. That is no longer becoming the mindset of different people within organizations, which is good because we're being proactive about the measures. 60% lower breach costs through quicker detection. The quicker you detect an incident, the less it's going to cost your business, the less time that you are down for, the less time that you can interact with your suppliers, etc. So having that awareness training to spot the breaches quicker could just be a lot more beneficial. And of course, this all lies down to how much money we're going to save from it. 30% lower insurance premiums cost if you have the right cyber awareness training in place. There's a fake account that has been socially engineered to try and trick me. I know a lot of people get a lot of LinkedIn messages. A lot of people get excited because it could be a sales opportunity, it could be a networking opportunity. And I think a lot of people are a bit more relaxed on LinkedIn when their emails. So that's why when we're on LinkedIn over Christmas, because let's be honest, we're not going to all switch off completely. We're going to be checking what's going on in the working world. That's when you need to be alert as well, because this phishing email here about a festive bonus, again, urgency, you're being praised for something that you have or haven't done, and the offer expires at 5 p.m. today. These are all ways that we can spot when a phishing and social engineering attempt is made. And as you can see, I reported the account. Vision, fission, and smission. It sounds like I'm making up some new nursery rhyme or something when you say it one after the other. But these are all the ways that we are being attacked by cyber criminals and what to look out for. A lot of the time, I talk about businesses and I talk about business threats, B2B. However, it is also with cybersecurity that personal aspect of the thought of someone impersonating one of your loved ones. So I think just being aware of the phishing and smishing attempts as well, not just B2B, but in your personal lives as well, is a good way to make sure that you are protected full round.
I'll drop a link in the chat for a website
Yeah.
that you can use to check if your data's been breached and if it's on the dark web. It's free to
Yeah.
use. It's nothing to do with
Brilliant.
Sophos. But yeah, I've checked it for me and it was quite worrying. I was on there a few times, so I had to change a
Yeah.
few passwords and delete a few accounts. But I'll put it in the chat now. Let me just dig it out. But yeah, it happens a lot.
Well, thank you so much for listening to my intro. And this has nicely put me onto the findings from the independent vendor research. So, Greg, I will let you take the floor. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Eve, and morning, everybody. I'm Greg. I work for Sophos. I'm not going to go into a hard Sophos pitch this morning. We're just going to talk about some of the things that we find when we go out and interview IT leaders as part of our state of ransomware. Just to introduce Sophos for anybody that's not aware, we're a cybersecurity organisation. Our key strength really is endpoint protection, so antivirus, anti-ransomware, and also cybersecurity as a service. So basically, having Sophos manage your cybersecurity instead of doing it in-house. We're a key partner of CSG, as Eve mentioned. CSG were our MSP partner of the year this year, so we're really pleased with that. Great partnership. So even if you guys maybe haven't heard of Sophos, I would guess as a CSG customer, a number of you will already be protected by us. So as we go through today, as we go through some of the slides, put any questions in the chat. Feel free to connect with me and we can have a chat afterwards if there's anything you want to run through. One more point on Sophos. 40 years experience now in cybersecurity, which I was surprised at when I joined the company. I didn't realise that cybersecurity was 40 years old. And we originated from Oxford in the UK. We've still got a big UK presence, but we're now worldwide. And every year we do a report called the State of Ransomware, where we go out and we independently interview 3,400 IT security leaders around the world, some in the UK, some in America, around EMEA. Some will be Sophos customers, some won't be. And we try and get a picture of what's happening in the cybersecurity landscape, and then we can compare it to the previous years. I think this is the 5th or 6th year that we've done it in a row. I'll start with a little tip. We say in cybersecurity, never scan QR codes, but I do promise that the one on the screen is safe. as I say, I work for a security company, and that will take you through to the state ransomware report. You can also contact Eve or myself following this meeting, and we can send across the report so you can see what's in it. But as a general rule, if you see a QR code stuck on a lamppost or somewhere and you're not sure where it's from, don't scan it, because it is a way that hackers are now using it to exploit people and gain access to whether it's the mobile phone, the computer, or whatever it is that you use to scam. Eve, I just clicked next slide? Did it work for you as well? Or anybody
No,
else?
if you need me to do the slides, just give me a little nod.
Yeah, are we on the stopping threats one now? I just click next.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are some of the stats that we got from this year's report. And as I said, if you want to read into it more, it's an interesting read. Give Eve a shout, give me a shout, we'll send it across. But 59% of the IT professionals that we spoke with observed an increase in the complexity of attacks over the previous year. So attacks are more complex, more difficult to stop, and more difficult to deal with by organisations themselves alone. 57% of the organisations we spoke to saw an increase in the volume of attacks. So not only are they more complex, but there's more of them, which makes it even more difficult. 66% of the businesses that we spoke to that were hit with ransomware were hit with ransomware last year. Eve, are you all right to click next slide so we're on the stopping threats? I don't think it's moved across. I'm reading through anyway, so you guys will hear what's on there. But yeah, 66% of the businesses that we spoke to were hit with ransomware, so it's a huge amount, a huge number. And 90% of those hit said it impacted their ability to operate, which I think is probably expected. 4% of the businesses hit with ransomware, only 4% recovered all of the data when they paid the ransom. That was a scary thing that I realised. The criminals are really, really good at encrypting data. They're not so good at decrypting and giving it back. They care about making money, and they care about holding the businesses to ransom. They don't care so much about, once they've been paid, making sure the businesses are running again. Another way that we've seen that it can be quite difficult, we've had cases where an organisation's been hit with ransomware, another gang has then got on the same organisation systems, and they've already encrypted data. We've seen it where that's happened 4 times. So we've got encrypted data. That is absolutely impossible to decrypt and get back. And that's one of the reasons that we advise at Sophos to not pay the ransom. We always advise that. We don't want to be sponsoring criminal gangs. We don't want to be funding terrorism in some cases. And in a lot of cases, as we can see here on the screen, even if you pay it, you might not get the data back. So keep backups and keep secure. That's the best way to do it. The average cost of remediating the ransomware from the organisations we spoke to was 1.05 million. We did interview a lot of large enterprise customers. It will vary on the size of the business. The criminals are smart. They'll ask for what they think they can get. And in some cases, we see that they look for the insurance certificate, see how much that organisation's liable for, and guess what? That's exactly how much they'll ask for. If you're all okay to click through to the next one, please, Eve. And again, any questions as we go through, just pop them in the chat or save them, and you can give us a shout later.
Should it be the attacks by industry? So I had to click through. It's changed for me. I just want to make sure it's.
So then the one I'm looking for is technical root cause of attacks.
Sorry, on my screen it's showing it.
All right, I will carry on then. So another thing that we look at in the report is how organisations are breached, and it leads on very nicely from what Eve was talking about. Phishing, as you can see there in the middle, or hopefully you can see there in the middle, is one of the highest, and it is on the rise. 18% of breaches that we see here at Sophos come from phishing attempts. The highest actually is exploited vulnerability. So an exploited vulnerability is essentially, it's a security flaw in software that can be leveraged by criminals to gain access, whether it's one of the tools that you use, whether it's in your email. The best way to deal with that, or to be prepared for that, is to make sure that every piece of software and every system that you use is patched and up to date. Organizations like Microsoft, like Sophos, will be constantly patching and updating our software when we see new threats and new breaches to make sure that everything's safe and secure. So keep patching, keep secure. use trusted software, use trusted third parties. Make sure you do your research, do your due diligence, and speak to the team at CSG to make sure that they're happy with what you guys want to use and that it's safe and secure. And have experts on hand, which I think everyone on this call already does by working with CSG. Really, really good team. How many Sophos engineers just of CSG got even now? I think it's 20 plus. They really, really are experts in security. So just by working with CSG, you're really helping yourself stay safe from cyber criminals. And if we can go on to the next one, Eve.
That move for you, okay?
Yeah, and the next one we look at who gets hit, the rate of ransomware by industry. It's quite a busy slide. I won't talk through everything, but essentially, unfortunately, everybody's a target. The criminal gangs that essentially are profitable businesses. They're looking to make money, and they will attack whoever they think A can be easily breached and B can bring them a return. So pretty much across the board, we're seeing everybody hit. There are certain sectors that are higher than others. Education's always quite high, budgets are tight, data's very valuable, so it's quite sad, but we see a lot of schools getting breached. We've seen in the news this year, the big retail organisations breached. The safest are actually IT companies because the criminals know that they're going to be well protected and hard to gain access to. But as we said, it's pretty much rife across the board, and we can move on, Eve. The recovery cost by organisation size, as we said, the average was 1.05 million. This one's in dollars. The report that we run is in US dollars, but we can kind of roughly translate it. The average recovery cost for a smaller organisation, 100 to 250 employees, is around £500,000. All the way up to the 3,000 to 5,000, where we're getting on for 1.5 million. So very, very high. And we do see, sadly, organisations go out of business as a result of criminal activity. Next one is the human impact on ransomware. This is something that we've been looking at a little bit more in the last year at Sophos. We kind of never spoke about it or considered it before. When one of our organisations is under attack, we have what we call an early warning call. Hopefully nobody in this meeting's had to join one, but I do join them. I join them a lot whenever my customers are breached because they're really, really interesting. We look at how the criminal gained access. We look at what we've seen, what's raised alerts, what the flags are, whether it's somebody's logged in from a different country, somebody's typed the password in incorrectly 5 times. We've seen this. We think it's a risk. Can we speak to somebody at the business to make sure A, everything is under control, you know what's happening, it's somebody within the organisation, or B, is there something that we need to know about here? Do we need is there something serious happening? And one thing that I got from the call is the impact on the people on it. People are scared, as Eve was saying earlier. Nobody wants to be the person that clicked on the bad link that let the criminals in, and people's jobs can become at risk as a result. So on the next slide, if you're okay to click across, Eve, 41% of the people that we spoke to saw anxiety and stress from or fear, anxiety and stress from attacks. There's extra pressure. Priorities and focuses can change away from developing and growing the business to keeping the organisation safe. Changes to team and organisational structure, feelings of guilt, increased recognition from senior leaders, absence due to stress, and teams' leaderships are being replaced. So there's not only an impact on the business, there's impact to the people within the organisation as well. And if we can move on, Eve. So I think if you guys can see the screen now, we've got the hooded character. That's probably, if we all close our eyes and think of a cyber criminal, that's probably the image that comes to mind. It's the teenager in the mum's basement that comes up at 10 p.m. for something to eat, doesn't talk to people, doesn't interact with people. They're on the computer all day, all night. There are people like that. Don't get me wrong, absolutely are. Especially now with the rise of AI and the dark web, it's even easier than ever to purchase malware and be a hacker. But the reality is that's not really what we're worried about here at Sophos. We're worried about criminal gangs, and the next few slides will talk about who they are and who we see. So if you're okay to click on to the next one, Eve, we should see the attribution of ransomware. And this comes from 2022. So I know some of you might think that's an old slide, but the year 2022 is actually key for us at Sophos because we learned a lot about criminal gangs and structures in 2022, and it's actually because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine this year in 2022. So if you can see the gangs on the screen, we've got Lockbit, I think the largest one there, and they are responsible for around 15% of ransomware this year in 2022. Conti, I won't talk through them all, but Conti in the top right are responsible for just under 5, and Conti are the key player on the screen now. If we add up all the numbers on the screen, we'll almost get to 100%, and that's very important because, as I said, it's not the teenager in the hoodie that we're worried about, it's the criminal gangs, and almost all of the ransomware attacks that we see here at Sophos stem from one of these gangs. Conti are the key one, and if you can click through, Eve. The reason that Conti are so key is prior to 2022, Conti were the market leader, I'll say in inverted commas, for ransomware. We were seeing that the majority of ransomware were coming from this organization. But when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a huge division within Conti because Conti were a Russian organization, still are, they're still there, but they had a lot of Ukrainian affiliates. And on the invasion, Conti came out and sided with Russia. They said, we're going to support Russia. We're going to help them within the war, whether it's for disrupting Ukraine, whether it's hacking, stealing money, whatever they can do, they're going to help Russia within. And we actually saw them do that, and with some success. But it caused a lot of division in the group, as you can imagine, because a lot of the Conti affiliates were Ukrainian. They absolutely wanted no part in it. So they disbanded. There was a huge split. A lot of the organization structure was leaked, how it works, inner workings. And it was really, really interesting to see, actually. There were things like career progression, job interviews, promotions. They run almost like a business like what a lot of you guys will run on this call now. And it just gave us a clear picture of what they do. And if you okay to click through to the slide with the guy in the car, Eve, I'm clicking through. I don't know if it's working from my screen, but that is a real cyber criminal on the streets in Russia, operating without fear of being caught. A lot of these guys are actually sponsored by the government, driving around Moscow with the big fancy cars, doing donuts in the street. It's not the guy in the hoodie. It's actually, really serious gangs, really serious people. So with complex attacks that we need to make sure we're keeping ahead of, and that's really what we do here at Sophos. If we click through, Eve, the next slide is about the key protagonists, and again, it's a really, really busy slide, so I'm not going to talk through it, but essentially what we can see here is how much data the gangs are processing, and on a monthly basis, and it's a really scary amount. The different colours on the bar represents the different gangs that we can see on the right-hand side. They're all the key players in the cybersecurity industry. A couple of the things to point out from this slide. We can see the trend. It's on the rise as we go through. It's very, very small as we go through from 2021 through to 2025. It's increasing, which is worrying. The second thing that I'd point out, and it's probably quite hard to see, but the two highest bars are around this time of year, and that's pretty much consistent as we go through the years. Criminals act when it's easier to gain access, when people are offline, and Christmas, holiday, New Year, when organisations are quiet, when people are off, when systems are down, it's a time when hackers will be very prominent. So a good time now, between now and say the 20th, to speak with CSG and make sure that that your organisation's safe. Ask about maybe running a health check, see if there's anything that jumps out at even the team where your organisation may be at risk. And that's not a sales plug. A lot of the things that you can do as an organisation to stay safe over the next month or so will be free to do. It'll be as simple as making sure configurations are correct. There may be other things like you've got antivirus on the endpoint. Have you considered looking to have it completely managed? But as I say, it's not a sales pitch. It's just make sure that the basics are correct and everything's configured right. On to the next one, Eve. Aside from the complexity of attacks, the volume of attacks, the criminal gangs. The other reason that I think, and this is really from me, that there's a rise in cybersecurity attempts is because of the complexity of organisations' environments. Just about 5 years ago, before COVID, and this screen's quite busy, but I'll talk through it. The left-hand side is pretty much what everybody saw. All the servers were in the office, all the computers were in the office, fixed to the desks. There might have been about 4 or 5 salespeople with laptops and mobiles, but that was pretty much it. Everything else was secure and on site, but that's not the case anymore. We've got remote workers, we've got applications in the cloud, we've got servers in the cloud. So organizations' environments are much more complex, much more difficult to manage, but also from the hacker's perspective, there's lots more opportunities to gain access, whether it's through the laptop, whether it's through the mobile phone, whether it's through the application in the cloud, not just the physical servers on site. So the more difficult it is to manage, the more that we see at Sophos that organizations come to us and ask for help in doing so. And we can talk through another time how we at Sophos can help organizations stay protected as you become more complex and as your environment becomes more layered. On to the next one, we've kind of covered it already. Attackers target out of hours. I think that's probably quite obvious. Evenings, weekends, but again, holiday period, we see so many breaches this time of year. So it's a really good time, as I said, these next couple of weeks. Make sure everything's patched, make sure everything's up to date. And if you get the chance, speak to even the team at CSG just to check your configs and make sure that when you log off on the 21st, the 20th, or whatever day it is, you're leaving your organization in a good state.
Thank you so much for going through the latest report. Yeah, 50% of global risk leaders are citing cyber threats as their top concern now in 2026, which is a huge statistic. Nation-state actors are increasingly targeting energy, manufacturing and telecoms for physical disruption. So within those industries, we can be looking out for more targeted attacks. And like Greg mentioned, with the Russian gangs and stuff like that, the conflicts and sanctions are reshaping different trade routes, which is increasing exposure to third-party breaches, emphasizing supply chain management, which is something that CSG do as part of our managed services. And then Gartner's very strategical advice as well of 42% of global risk management spending will go to outsourced security services, which is emphasizing the need and the demand for a security expert and partner. And 93% of organizations are planning to offload some, maybe not all, but some cyber risks to MSSPs within 2 years. And I think basically that just emphasizes that everyone's becoming more aware of the demand and the requirement for a security partner as well. And Gartner emphasizes proactive resilience and managed services, the most effective way to stay protected. So in a short summary, thank you so much everyone for joining today. Thank you, Greg, so much for hosting with me. It's been a pleasure to host these webinars with you. Can't believe the last one of the year, but the key takeaways from this is AI is dominating both attack and defense strategies. So if you're not looking at your AI-powered defense strategies, then set up a call with CSG and we can help you with that. Cyber warfare and political instability are blurring the lines between IT and national security, but it's something that we all need to be aware of and focusing on. And outsourcing cybersecurity is no longer optional, but a strategic way to make sure that you are protected from all of the threats. And just finalising it off again, just to celebrate our Partner of the Year award for 2025. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting us to achieve that award, because like I said earlier, we can do what we can't do without our amazing customers. So thank you all for being here today and for going through the changes with Greg. Greg, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure to hosting this with you. Yeah, once again, thank you so much for listening and thank you for joining. If you need to set up a meeting, those are the details. But Greg, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Have a lovely day and I will speak soon, hopefully. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Greg. And yes, of course, I will be sending any details for cyber awareness training. If you do want to get involved in that, it's such a great way to just, like I said, have a security first ethos amongst everyone within your department, not just IT. Thank you.